Okay, let's do this. So for those who don't know me, hi, how you doing? Now, I like looking at obscure media. They're like those little artifacts that are either talked about by a few select people or by no one at all. No matter where on the World Wide Web I'm on, if I see something that I myself had never heard of before, it piques my interest. Depending if it actually is, let's say, my cup of tea. I've seen some folks on the BoobTube talk about these relics for years now, and they've pretty much inspired me to take a look at them too, no matter how unforgivably bad some of them might be. Well, actually, I think unforgivable would be an understatement, but whatever. So I decided now is a perfect time to throw my hand into the ring and do my own reviews on them, as my own way of asking, does anyone know about them or not? Even if some of these things have already been put under the spotlight beforehand, I'm still going to talk about them anyway, because these are my reviews, my rules. And I like to put a little spin on them. So for the first subject of these insights, I want to talk about something that I know personally. Kiddo, the Super is a direct-to-DVD animated film that came out in 2005, or 2006, well, somewhere around the mid-2000s. Now, this is a film that I believe no one's ever heard of before, and it's only remembered by only one person who actually has seen it before. And in this case, I'm that one person. It's one of those films that I watched as a wee lad many years ago, and then one day suddenly remember it out of the blue and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was the case for me involving Kiddo. Though, when I did remember it, I thought the film was bad. Like, bad. And I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go through it at all, but I also wanted an excuse to talk about it, so I decided to bite the bullet just to see whether or not my assumptions about it are true. Luckily, I still got the DVD of the film on me, because I'm obviously not giving Amazon any of my money. So with all that said, let's get this show on the road. I'm sorry. This is Kiddo, a little lorry and a junior ranger under the watch of his father in the little town of Sunnyside. One morning, they meet up with Delight, who says that today is a double rainbow day, which gives everyone the opportunity to make their double rainbow wishes, as well as a race going on for the town's racing champion title. Kiddo's dad lets him go off to see 00 Davy, the town hero of Sunnyside, who will be racing for the title. But not before he passes by Mr. Blue, a pickup lorry who makes jazz songs about pretty much anything and anyone he sees. Kiddo then meets up with his friend Rodney, a newly graduated taxi, and then Davy further down the line, who asks Kiddo to help warm up for the upcoming race. Now, Kiddo is special. You see, he has the ability to transform himself to anything for any situation, all through the power of imagination. The two make a practice run up to Big Tree Mountain, where Alexander, the current champion, is waiting for Davy to arrive. When they do, Davy explains how after the race, he'll be planning on making his move to Chrome City, leaving Kiddo quite upset about it. Keep this in mind for later. Davy and Alex are readied up along with Rodney, regrouping with Kiddo, with his first passengers on board, and the race begins, with Kiddo and Rodney following after. As Davy and Alex race by and through the various landmarks of Sunnyside, all is well and good until they make it to the old trestle bridge. This wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't narrow enough to not fit both of them, while they're basically neck and neck with each other at this point. Thinking quickly, Kiddo changes into a plane and flies towards to do whatever it is he did here. I'm sorry, I keep looking back at this and I still have no idea what the hell he did here. The two racers then make it back to the mountain and Davy crosses the finish line, becoming the town's new racing champion, along with setting his sights on a Miss Sherry. This has him make up his mind to prepare his move, and everyone then throws a party for his victory. The next day, Kiddo is at the mud park to chaperone Hummy, the little jeep, while he's visiting with his parents. As they enter, we are introduced to Ranger Hut, a man cross-pose thing. Yeah, Ranger Hut tells Hummy the rules of the park, as well as telling him to stay clear of the wild slide, which Kale describes as being the biggest slide in the park that takes anyone down to its deepest mud hole. During their mud-involved shenanigans, Hummy asks Kiddo how he changes himself on will, and he answers by saying that when there's a need, he becomes what's supposed to be for that need. Hummy then finds the beetle buggies in another mud pit, and goes to join them by going through the wild slide, the one thing he was told to steer clear from. He had to still have fun on it anyway. After which, while climbing up a hill, Hummy gets himself stuck and decides to do what Kiddo does and uses his own imagination to warp his tires to get a better grip on the climb. Also, they meet up with Delight, even though he's supposed to be at that one intersection back in the suburbs. Unless he's like a collective hive mind. After all that, Kiddo and Hummy get cleaned off at the park's car wash, and that's pretty much it. In all honesty, the whole park sequence of the film kind of feels like filler for me. Hopefully the other half of it should be better. Later, Kiddo is going out with his grandfather, a cargo lorry who makes deliveries around town. Kiddo's Grams tells him that they have to make a delivery of engine parts for the big garage up on Dark Tree Mountain later tonight. The circus is coming to town and the crew needs to get them from there once they arrive. After picking up the parts, they're soon on their way, only for Kiddo's grandpa to hit a pothole and gain half his tires flat. And he can't even fix the problem himself since he only has one spare on him. Kiddo volunteers to help make the delivery for him while he waits for help to arrive. The moment he leaves, however, Kiddo's mom and dad appear and his grandpa starts up like nothing happened. So basically, this is planned by both Kiddo's dad and grandpa as part of a test on his capability. I mean, I understand it's important to teach responsibilities to someone, but I don't think it's really necessary to actually injure yourself on purpose as part of it. Kiddo then meets up with Rodney later down the road and tells him about a shortcut to get to the big garage faster. This shortcut, however, actually brings him to the ghost town, where they meet face to face with Mo, the excavator, and the minecarts, Rennie, Lenny, and Minnie, with Mo telling off and sticking to responsibility than otherwise. After that ordeal, and in order to make up for lost time, Kiddo decides to hurry to the big garage in style. Go! And with that, Kiddo completes the delivery just as the circus crew arrives after him. By morning, Kiddo's grandpa's flats have been taken care of by Tony the tow lorry, and Kiddo meets up back with him and tells him all about his adventure. Later, while Kiddo and his dad are out and about together, Kiddo tells him that he feels like a big lorry now after his run. In fact, when they meet with Mr. Blue, he tells him that everyone has heard about it as well. As the three continue their drive, Kiddo's dad then sees Tony with something troubling him, and lets his son and Mr. Blue continue without him while he stays behind to help. Kiddo decides to talk to Mr. Blue about Davy's decision to move to Chrome City and to be with Sherry, and how upset he is about it all, because he feels like that he'll be losing Davy as a friend. Mr. Blue tells him that he'll never lose someone as a friend as long as he keeps a piece of them in his heart, which makes Kiddo admit to being selfish about it all. Kiddo then meets up with Davy and asks him why he wants to move in the first place. He explains to the little lord that he wants to look out for his future, and he wants him to be the new town hero of Sunnyside. With this exchange, Davy decides that they should have at least one last race together before his move, having it dubbed as a magical moonbeam run. That night, Davy and Kiddo meet again for the race and they're off and away. Also, much like before, Rodney's following behind them. In fact, everything about the race is just about the same as before. Well, aside from this one part. So in the end, Davy wins the race and goes to prepare his and Sherry's move to Chrome City. Kiddo has now accepted his decision, and that, folks, is the end of our story. Alright, so what are my final thoughts? Animation. The animation is produced in-house by the company who published the film, Magic Dreams, and it's alright for what it is, but it did came with a lot of flaws. For some weird reason, and for some parts of the film, the characters were animated as a layer over the sets. This was a major issue because of how weird it looked when it happens, including characters standing in place as shots of the sets move, or vice versa, and being cropped out as certain shots of them. Now granted, this doesn't really happen for the entire film, but still. Another issue is the models themselves, where there isn't anything bad with them, but there were some scenes where the wheels were left static while they were moving, practically having them look like they're sliding across the ground. Writing is so-and-so. The story was presented well, and I liked how fleshed out the characters were. Even so, there are some things here that could be reworked. Like for example, when Kiddo and Rodney arrived at the ghost town during Kiddo's delivery run, they didn't know anything about it, even though they already did before during the title race, basically making this scene a whole continuity error. Dialogue wasn't really that bad. Well, sort of. Despite everyone here sounding crystal clear, Kiddo's the only one whose voice sounded fuzzy. It's as if his voice actor had a bad mic and nobody bothered to fix that.
Being a junior ranger is pretty important, huh, Dad? When there's a need, I become what's needed to be. Look at this! There!
I also want to talk about the mic cards because I think they were done dirty throughout the film in terms of their voices. First time they appeared, their voices were okay, even if they were a little rough around the edges. By the next time they appeared, their voices were pitched up for some odd reason.
Go, Davy! Go, Davy! Go, Davy!
And by the next time they appeared, not only did the high pitch remain, but they sound like their voices were being done by one person from the sounds of it.
Yes, sir. No detours. No delays.
In my humble opinion, they should have stuck with their original voices before they're pitched up. It gives more variety for them. Music. The music I had no problem with. It was all composed using the prettiest set of synthesizers, which, by the way, are some of my favorite sets, personally. There was even a release for the film's soundtrack, unlike most direct-to-home media films as far as I know. The only way to download it, however, is through the official Magic Dreams website, had it not gone down after it seemingly closed its doors a long time ago. I was able to access it through the Wayback Machine, with some help from Ruffles, as around the Flash player, but mostly every day wasn't able to load, and it was pretty much a sea of blanks. So unless someone actually has a download of the soundtrack on them, the thing itself was pretty much lost media at this point. Overall, well, I could confidently say this without having to wear any rose-colored glasses. It's all perfect. I did like the story, however, as it's all one person's journey of growth. I think it would be a better experience, especially for the audience it's aimed for, if it weren't for all the cons it had. Especially one major one being the film's sound effects, or lack thereof, I should say, as it's all done via a cappella. If I were to remake the film from scratch, I would fix up all the animation errors, have the entire voice crew work with good mics, and, you know, use actual sound effects. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, not reuse footage for the finale! My theory suggests that the people who made this want to rush this out as soon as possible and leave the bar to double check everything before finalizing it all. That could be the reason why it was all botched up like that. Either that or they did it for a quick buck. One last personal thing I wanted to talk about for this is that it doesn't even feel like an actual film at all. It kind of feels like it's either a bunch of unaired episodes for a failed series compiled as a film, or it's actually one of those rare direct-to-home media shows. If it's really the former case, then it wouldn't be the first time something like this happened. Anyhow, that's pretty much my 2 cents for Kiddo. Hey, thanks for watching. In case this is your first time here, this is actually a remake of the first ever review I've done on my channel. I wasn't proud of the original version anymore, and I've been wanting to redo it for quite some time now. If you want to tune into more like this, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also turn on notifications when they go up. Anyway, that's all I have to say, so bye!